Thregio, the chieftain or president, if you will, of Ríðar Wyrd. This is Nelson Young.
I'm the elder or vice president of Ríðar Wyrd.
And I'm Hank Stratton, and I am master of the coin.
And this is our Havamal study night. We are using the study Havamal, which is in front of you on camera, by the Hugan Moonin Publishing Company. Please forgive us. We've had a interesting night so far. And your other translation?
I'm using the James Chisholm translation back in 2009, so it's a little bit more recent, but no less meaningful.
And we will give a copy of that, of the link to the Chris Chisholm.
It'll be in the comments below.
Correct.
Look below.
We'll give you a link to it. So, without any further ado, stanza 6.
Yep.
Who'd like to start this one off tonight?
Let no man glory in the greatest of his mind, but rather keep watch over his wits. Cautious and silent, let him enter a dwelling. To the heedful comes seldom harm. For none can find a more faithful friend than the wealth of Mother Wit. And that was Bray.
Okay, so Thorpe translates it to, of his understanding, no one should be proud, but rather in conduct cautious. When the prudent and tactful comes to a dwelling, harm seldom befalls the cautious. For a firmer friend, no man ever gets more than the sagacity.
Let a man not be boastful about his wits, but watchful instead. The wise and silent are seldom harmed when wary in the hall. A more trustworthy friend a man cannot have than understanding.
Okay. And Bellows says, a man shall not boast of his keenness of mind, but keep it close in his breast. To the silent and wise does ill come seldom, for when he goes as a guest to a house. For a faster friend, no one ever. Holy crud! For a faster friend, one never finds than wisdom tried and true. From Bellows. So excuse me for
stumbling over the
completely trying not to speak English for a minute there. So, what's this one say to you guys?
I have found this one to be a favorite. I mean, one of the things you don't do, you go into someone's house and it's like, hey, you know, I know this, I know that, and I know I can do it better than you. And it's like, okay, you've already shot your mouth off. Oh, by the way, here's the expert over here that knows exactly what he's talking about. And you just showed your backside.
Right.
So we got the wisdom here not to do that sort of thing. But in the ancient times, traversing through the barren, through the snow, you come across a house. The tradition was, okay, there's no one out here, so you come on in, get warm, like we did with the first, with 3 and 4, right. Stanza 3 and 4. Okay, you're in there, but you have no idea if you have an enemy in there.
Right.
Someone who is not clan, someone who is, oh, hey, you know, we got a bounty for you type of thing.
Right. Right.
And that would not be unheard of.
No, not unheard of at all. Well, the other thing is, too, is it's kind of like playing a hand of poker and showing everyone your hand prior to making a bet. You know, you always have people that show too much of themselves prior to making a move. And so, I mean, if you go back to the first couple stanzas, you know, where it states, you know, that you're supposed to look and be wary when going through doors and such, it kind of relates right back to that same thing, you know. Don't shoot off your mouth until you know who's in the room. don't offer too much of yourself, lest you be shown the door.
Okay. So, in a modern term, the first thing that pops into my mind on this also is everybody knows that one guy or girl or woman or somewhere in between nowadays.
Person bigger than.
Yes. That the one-upper.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No matter what your story is, they've done it. No matter what you say, they've done it or done something better. Everyone's guilty of it at one point or not. Whether they even know it or not.
Sure.
And I'll admit, I go to a friend's house, I start talking, and there are times when you cannot shut me up.
That's okay.
Sometimes.
We learn to love you that way.
There are times, though, at work where you'll be having a conversation with someone, and I work in cubicles. If you ever know what that pain is, you understand where I'm coming from. You'll be having a conversation, you'll have someone troll your conversation. They stand up and they go, well, what's really going on?
Right.
And they don't even know the half of it because they missed the whole first part of the goddamn conversation. It doesn't help.
So since you're in the military and you work in cubicles, is it a tactical cubicle or?
Well, it's definitely all gray.
Or is it a QB?
No.
Okay, just checking.
No. No, it's a workspace.
QB, see? Oh.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. So, okay, how does this relate to if you go to a friend's house, though? Not somebody you don't
Same
know.
difference. Same difference, really. Okay. I have played I don't want to say devil's advocate. I played the middleman.
Mm.
Okay. Friends with one person.
Yeah.
Friends with another person. And yet at the same time, these two have some sort of conflict going on with each other.
Sure.
And it's like, okay, here's what I do. I don't bring tales from one to the other or from the other to the one. Now, if they come into my house, it's just, it's not something I would plan. It's just, oh, okay, you're both here. Oh, wonderful. Are we going to have fun tonight? That's the same idea. You got to watch what you say to this other one because you've already got a feud going on between you. And it's like, my house, my rules. Oh, my grandkids love that one too. So you still have to be mindful. Honor your host, but be watchful of your own conflicts. Take them outside where no one else is going to get hurt.
Right.
At least you turn everybody into an enemy for you.
Right. And also, spiritually, we do things with a pure acceptance of what the tradition was prior, the way our ancestors did things. Yeah. We understand that. But when someone else wants to do something in reference to a modern way, that's still in reference very much to the old way, but they modernize it in some fashion.
Right.
Some people, I've been noticed this on occasion, where we have a knee-jerk response of, wait, what are you doing? Instead of their house, let them run things the way they want to. And it kind of leads back to that whole thing of being boastful. I know what to do. Sometimes you might learn something if you shut up and listen.
Right. But, okay, to play the other side of that.
Sure.
Because, to keep the conversation going. No. That I've done the same thing. I've had that knee-jerk reaction of going, okay, wait, what are you doing?
Right.
And then you find out that they didn't do any background. They're just kind of going with it because they want to.
Right. And we know these people. Yes.
Right. So there's kind of a difference there. And that's one of the things that I think is interesting. Then it says, no one finds wisdom tried and true. So it's okay to speak up on something.
Sure.
But know what you're talking about. Don't just go, okay, you know what? You're doing it wrong. Go, okay, I get what you're trying to do, but from my understanding, I've read this somewhere. Is this related in some way to that? Sure. Instead of going, I know everything, you know nothing, blah, 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 blah. And that's, in our community, that's a thing that happens.
Oh, yeah.
And I've done it before. Everyone's done it
With-
before to an extent.
With my extracurricular activities,
Mhm.
okay, I am with another group, and we constantly are finding what we refer to as keyboard commandos. I'm with a paranormal group, okay? Let's put it that way. I have done my own.
You can say it.
I am the founder of a paranormal group here in the Puget Sound area, and we have our understanding. We have gone through our studies and verified our studies, and yet we get these wonderful individuals that explain, no, it's not that way. It's this way, or you did something to create this effect. And it's like, A, you haven't been here. B, you've already shown you don't know what you're talking about.
Mhm.
So there's the wisdom of keep mindful of your wits. You're already showing your backside here.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Instead
Make sure
of
you back it up.
right, before
Okay.
I display any evidence from my data,
Mm-hmm.
I make sure that I have gone through it beyond any shadow of a doubt. And if I put it out there, I'm ready to defend it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And most people are.
I mean, it's the same thing with a news article or a current archaeological find or something of that nature, where we've read it ourselves and we agree with what the information that's being presented. We post the information that's presented because we understand it and we know it to be a good source. There's oftentimes we look across I don't know, Facebook, where you see things that are not at all logical, let alone historical in any fashion. And it's fine.
True.
And it's fine if you accept this and go, well, I know it's wrong, but this is the way I do it. Fine. I don't have anything to say to you then. Good luck and, have fun. Right? But when you say, I know this because this is the way that it was done and this is the way that I was taught. Taught by who? A cloud? And we see these things all the time, not just in heathenry, but in everything. There are numerous armchair generals that solve the world's problems over from the keyboard. So,
Right.
See, keyboard commandos.
right, absolutely.
They haven't left their house in a year and a half, but it's cool.
I mean, it's
Is that called agoraphobia? Oh.
No, that's legitimate. I mean, people actually have that.
I would not want to legitimize
Yeah.
some of these people. Yeah. So basically, just keep your mouth shut unless you actually know what the hell you're talking about. Really, is what this is trying to say.
When you come into someone else's house, know what you're talking about or keep silent.
Right, yeah. Be respectful.
That's all.
Now, if you're asked, hey, what do you think about what I did?
Okay.
Then that's entirely different. One, they're trying to reach a level of understanding that they may not have, right? So now they're asking for input.
Right.
And we do see this from time to time. You also have people who are, we call it venting to each other once in a while, where we use each other as a sounding board. Hey,
Right.
I'm looking at this.
Wouldn't know anything about that.
Am I looking at the same thing here? Am I just being a dick, or is this a legitimate complaint?
Will I end up sleeping on the couch tonight or outside?
Right. And there are times where, it's once you're asked the question, sure, say whatever you want. Just keep in mind that all advice is nothing more than just advice that's given. Oftentimes the advice that you already know is true is really just the advice you already know, but you don't want to do. So when someone else spits it to you, then it's a lot easier to follow.
And if you have advice that you know to be true, it never hurts to check multiple sources to make sure you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's with everything.
Absolutely, with everything.
Holy crap, I know what I'm talking about for a change.
Who? What?
Just
Where?
kidding.
What?
Okay.
Well, whenever you speak about personal experience, you usually do.
Well,
So, on that note, I think we're good for this episode, and we'll be back with somebody besides Nelson. No, kidding. All right. So, as usual, we'll do the whole YouTube likey thing. You know, don't forget to like and subscribe. But honestly, we do want your questions. We do want your comments because it helps us learn.
The more we
So-
hear from you, the more we can find an understanding of how we're communicating.
And if you criticize us, if you point something out that maybe you didn't like in the video, please put it below. As long as you're respectful, we'll leave it there. I promise. I don't like a lot of things. I live with them.
Wow.
Work-wise. What the hell will all the rest of you think?
He's sleeping on the couch tonight. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.